What's going on, guys? Oh, let's see if we got the picture going on here. Oh, where's the background? The background's not coming up. What the heck's going on here? Let's see. Background is not showing up for some reason. I had a whole fucking background prepared and it's not showing up. That's bizarre. We'll probably have to get it up and running soon. But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to hashtag AskGSM, episode 580 here today for Wednesday, January 7th, 2025. First time going live, not here in 2025. We went live last Thursday for WrestleRant Radio. We went live last Saturday to review SmackDown. And today, for the first time in about 2 years, about a year and a half, we're going live for hashtag AskGSM. Now, also for the first time ever, we're doing the show on a Tuesday. We started the show back in 2013 on a Monday, did it on Monday for about three and a half years. Transitioned over to Wednesdays starting late 2016, and we've obviously had the show go up on different days over the course of that, 8 years, when it was necessary to have it go up early, late, pre-record, whatever. But now for the first time ever, I think going forward, and we're going to try to get the hang of this, we're going to try to have the show go live on Tuesdays every single week. So coming off of SmackDown, or rather Raw, I mean SmackDown, we're still going to go live on Saturdays, hopefully to review that show when I can. But I thought this week it was fitting, just because we had the Raw on Netflix debut, and I had this great, awesome fucking layout here. I did an intro that I'm trying to put together. We're still trying to work out the kinks here, all right, on the live streams here on the channel. This is easily the most amount of times I've gone live in the span of 1 week ever in the 16 years I've had the channel. So please, try to excuse the fucking mishaps and whatnot. But I had a whole background prepared, so hopefully next time we can get that going and get it to work. But we do have a couple questions collected from YouTube and Twitter from last night. Obviously, it's going to take a while to collect more questions here on the show, just because we've moved to Tuesdays. A lot of people are used to airing it or having the show go up on Wednesdays and sending in the questions on Tuesday nights before, after NXT on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook, late Tuesday nights and on early Wednesdays. Well, unless this does not stick and I change my mind, we're going to try to have the show go live on Tuesdays now. So try to get those questions in on early. Chris said, no, it did not. As far as the show, I mean, the name of the video is obviously the WWE's Raw Netflix live debut. Let's see, is this even working? I think it's showing. All right, it is. All right, I'm just making sure this is working. I'm making sure that the video is going live, because on my end, it shows a different video. All right, the name of the video is Did WWE's Raw Netflix debut live up to the hype? The answer was no, according to Chris. Chris, thank you for sending that in. I appreciate it. If you got any questions during the course of the show, be sure to chat them in on the chat on the side. I'll be sure to check them out when I can. We only got a couple questions collected from YouTube and Twitter, so we're probably going to make this a one of the shorter episodes of hashtag AskGSM that we've ever done. So we'll try to get through this as quickly as we can and then get you guys out of here. But if you want to send in a question to the show today or tomorrow, any day of the week, specifically before we go live on Tuesdays, ideally around this time, 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to chat in, send a question before we go live, be sure to do it before then. But you could do so by sending in a question on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights now, if not on Tuesday mornings, if not on the wall itself. And also in the comment section on this very video, if you watch it after the fact, after we go live, you can send in a question there as well in the comment section, and be sure to get that in for me to answer right here on the show. So like I said, if you try to tune in, if you see the notification, and you chime in the chat section, well, I'll be sure to send in a question. I can answer it there as well. But before we get to the big question of the day, did the show live up to the hype? We'll get to that a little bit later on. We'll save that for later on in the video. Don't want to blow the lead right out of the gate. Jordan B. from YouTube asked last week for this episode, what are some international PLEs that you would like to see WWE do in the next 3 years? For me, it would be India, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, China, Taiwan, Japan, Italy, and Dublin, Ireland. I can't imagine they would do all of those in the course of the next 3 years. I assume you mean just places that you would like to see them go to. And I can't complain about any of them. I mean, we're first getting, and obviously you sent this in on Wednesday. It was announced on Friday from PW Insider and made official yesterday by WWE. Before we get any of those, they're going back to Saudi Arabia. And obviously that's nothing new. They go to Saudi Arabia twice a year for, King and Queen of the Ring and Crown Jewel and those shows. But I think next year, if they're not going there for King and Queen of the Ring, they're definitely going there for the Royal Rumble. I don't know if we're going to end up with fucking 3 Saudi shows next year if they're doing those other shows in addition to the other one. I'm not exactly sure what their schedule looks like for 2025. And I say next year, it's this year, actually. Or, I mean, no, it would be 2026. That's when the Rumble in Saudi Arabia is going to be. But some of these other ones that you listed, India would be cool. Interestingly, I don't know if COVID put a kibosh on it, but WWE during the COVID pandemic period, and I'm sure no one watched this except for me, or just I'm sure there were a lot of people in India when they aired it or streamed it live, streamed it, aired it, whatever the fuck it was, on their local networks and whatnot. They did a show called Superstar Spectacle back in early 2022, and it was meant for the Indian market of WWE. They had a lot of Indian talent on that show. Jinder Mahal, they had Shanky, remember Shanky? They had Indu Sheer on that show and a few others that are no longer with the company. WWE had a lot more Indian contract. They had a lot more Indian talent under contract as of a couple of years ago compared to now. Now they may only, I don't know who they have under contract, honestly, that's from India. They had Indu Sheer, they had Shanky, they had Mahal. They fired all of them. Shanky got cut about a year and a half ago. Mahal and Indu Sheer got cut about a few months ago or less than a year ago. I think it was right after WrestleMania, actually. So I don't know if they have any Indian talent under contract currently. So they would have to obviously improve that before they can go back to India to show. Because for a while there, they were trying to show off their diversity, which is great. But then when you get rid of a lot of this talent, and not all of that talent was bad. Shanky, from what I had seen, he didn't really make a whole lot of great strides in the ring. But Indu Sheer, I thought, had a lot of potential. Indu Sheer was good. Not saying they were the next WWE World Champions or anything, but specifically Sangha, I thought showed a lot of improvement. Veer, I thought, had potential. He had a great story there as well, coming from the Pittsburgh Pirates and his whole journey. They made a fucking Disney movie about him. WWE never really fully tapped into that, and I feel like they could have. So India would be interesting. Argentina, Brazil would all be, all great crowds there. Mexico, honestly, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. And their Puerto Rico show obviously does not count. That's not Mexico. That's probably the closest they've come to a Mexican type show that they've done in Mexico, as far as like a PLE is concerned. Obviously, I think they've done TV in Mexico. I remember a SmackDown and maybe a Raw that they did in Mexico back in 2011. And that was when they were really pushing Sin Cara. That was right after they hired him. He was on the main roster. They were pushing him pretty aggressively. And I don't know if they went back there for TV after that. They obviously do like, house shows there and stuff like that. But as far as like PLEs, I'm not sure they've done one of those. Not a PLE, but like a Raw or SmackDown since then, back in Raw or back in 2011. So Mexico would be cool. Rey Mysterio told me when I interviewed him last year that he would love to see a PLE there in the next 3 years because he probably intends to retire in the next 3 years, or at least 2 years, I guess now. He said 3 years last year, so I guess that would make 2 years now. And if it's in the next 2 years, that would be a great place for him to retire. A hair versus mask match with himself against Dominic Mysterio would be perfect. So that would be one match I would like to see, or one show I would like to see. China, Taiwan, Japan. The Japan one is also another surprising one that I'm surprised that we haven't seen yet. I know they did Beast to the East, God, 10 years ago. It doesn't feel like it was a decade ago, but I know they did that back in 2015 on the network. And that was a live show that they actually did live early in the morning on 4th of July of all days. On Independence Day for America, they went to Japan for a house show or a network special or whatever you want to call it. And it was actually a really fun show because it felt so much different than your ordinary WWE PLE than what we were getting on TV at the time. That was where Finn Balor beat Kevin Owens for the NXT Championship and a whole bunch of other like house show-esque matches. So that would be cool. Italy, I'm surprised hasn't happened yet. I feel like that's a hot market waiting to be tapped into for a PLE. And then Dublin, Ireland would be great too. Obviously, that takeover almost went there. NXT UK almost went there for a takeover back in 2020. And I mentioned this, I think, a couple of weeks ago here on hashtag because I think we were talking about Gunther and Balor. I don't know where it was, but I was talking about Gunther and Balor and how they almost had a match on that NXT UK takeover back in 2020. And that was when Balor was like white hot in NXT. Gunther had been the NXT UK champion for about a year at that point. Went on to hold the championship for a whole other year and a half after that. But that was right after COVID hit and they had to cancel the show. And I would say we never did get that match. We did on Raw a few months ago, right before SummerSlam. I think it was the go-home show for SummerSlam this past year. And Gunther beat Balor. And they had a good match, but it wasn't quite what it would have been. And I think Ireland, actually, specifically, back in 2020, had they done that match. So, and you have a lot of Irish talent under contract between Balor and Becky specifically. I mean, she's not back now. I'm surprised she wasn't back last night, but when she does come back, those are two stars you can promote on that show, and I feel like they would get a great reaction. They did the Scotland show, so it would kind of be the equivalent of that, right? I mean, on the Scotland show, you had Alba Fire, Isla Dawn winning the tag team titles. You had Piper Niven in a match, a women's championship match, and Drew McIntyre in a match. Now, half of those people lost. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were the only ones that won and went on to have a fairly uneventful run as WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. But they did attempt to play to the hometown crowd by having them on the show, win a big match because Drew was losing, Piper Niven was losing. Didn't make sense from a storyline sense for them to win. So I could understand why they lost. But my point is, maybe if they go to Dublin, hopefully Balor can win a match on that show. You've got, like I said, Becky Lynch as well. When she comes back, I feel like that would make a whole lot of sense to have her kind of looming in the background. I feel like that would be awesome. Checking in on the comments section, John Ritlin, real honestly, awesome dude. Our movie review, by the way, we did a whole 3-hour podcast a couple days ago talking about all the best and worst movies that we watched in 2024, and there was a whole lot of them. John specifically, I think my final list came out to like 100 movies. That includes like rewatches and shit like that. For like original movies, I don't know how many new movies I watched in 2024. It was a lot. John, it was like 326 or 335 or whatever the final number was. It was a crazy fucking number. And we did a whole podcast breaking it down. I'm hoping to have it go up today or tomorrow. So shout out to John. He's awesome. His question was, he said, so the Intuit Dome looked great. How do you think the Raw debut went overall? I thought it had good moments, but a couple of things felt off. And Richie also said, shout out to Richie. First of all, Richie's also fucking awesome. Check out his channel. Subscribe to him as well as John. He said, my man. He also said, my only gripe with Raw last night, those damn commercials ruined the pacing of some matches. Yeah, we'll get into that with a little bit later on as far as the Raw debut goes. Actually, we don't have to really wait any longer. I guess John asked me about the Raw debut, so we'll talk about it now. But yeah, the Intuit Dome itself looked fucking cool. So for those that might be confused, that circle thing that was in the center of the ring that had the video package on it to start the show, that looked awesome, but that is not a typical WWE thing they're going to be doing on Raw going forward. They're not going to be doing that in every show moving forward. That's going to be like a Intuit Dome exclusive thing only. So I can imagine people watching the show last night thinking, man, like casual viewers, they may not have watched in a long time or watching for the first time, or people that were there, like Vanessa Hudgens gets it because she's been there, but like some of the other celebrities, fucking Kevin McAllister for Home Alone, I can never properly pronounce his name, so I won't attempt to do so here. But I could see him saying to himself, man, that thing in the center looked really fucking cool. I can't wait to see them open up every show if I continue watching on Netflix. Well, sorry to say, it won't be a part of the WWE setup going forward unless they could set something up, but that was pretty fucking cool. The drone shots were cool. Can't overdo them, but it was cool. As far as the overall debut itself, we did get a question about it from @MillennialNoob on Twitter. He said, what are your thoughts on tonight's Raw? He sent that in last night. On Netflix debut, did it live up to the hype? So I said we would get to it a little bit later on. I guess we might as well get to it here. The big leading question, did it live up to the hype? No, it did not. I think it was a good show. I think it was a fun show. I would say it was a very entertaining show. Was it, I think more appropriately, the question to ask, was it a new era in WWE? The answer is no, it was not. It was absolutely not a new era. It was a new era in the sense that Raw will be on Netflix going forward. I think that's cool. I think it's a massive step forward. Was it this great, riveting show I would go back and watch on Netflix today, tomorrow, years down the road? Probably not. It was history-making, that's for sure. It was a history-making show, and I think they did a great job, because honestly, it felt more like a show, not for me, not for you, not for anyone probably watching right now that's probably like a hardcore WWE fan. It was for the casual people. And I was encouraging people that were not wrestling fans to go check out that show that have either not watched in a long time or have never watched, because I feel like they might enjoy it. And I think one of the positives of the show was that they did a phenomenal job from the opening video package to the main event on commentary to some of the other video packages and whatnot, getting you familiar, if you weren't already, with the current crop of competitors in WWE, the current roster, getting you interested and invested in the storylines. Now, for the people that watch every week, it was definitely a downgrade of a show in the sense that we don't see people that we normally see every single week. And not even like, I'm not talking like fucking Pure Fusion Collective and shit like that. I'm not talking about like those type of people like Natalia. Who gives a fuck that they weren't on Raw? I'm talking like, or like Alpha Academy. Who gives a shit? I'm talking about like The New Day, Braun Breaker, Gunther. Yeah, technically they were on the show in backstage segments and in shit like that. But like, they weren't doing anything. They just showed those people. And I said this to a few people. I think next week is the real test. I think they effectively hyped next week's show. Now, casual viewers probably see the matches they advertise and are thinking, who the fuck are these people, aside from the fact that we saw them in the crowd tonight? Like Balor and Damian Priest, there was no video package for that match. Nothing. They're just like, oh, street fight. And we're like, okay, cool. Like I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like they're going to blow off the feud next week. But then I'm also thinking, okay, like what the fuck? Like why wouldn't, for anyone that's tuning in for the first time, why wouldn't they want you to get familiar with that feud, with that storyline, and want to watch the show for that blow off feud? Again, we already know the deal, but it's like, who are you trying to appeal to here? I guess they were trying to appeal to everyone, which is kind of part of the problem. Again, I enjoyed the show for what it was. I thought the matches were good. I really liked the main event. I thought Tribal Combat was fun. I thought Jay and McIntyre was good, not great. I thought Rhea and Liv was good. I don't know why they got rid of the last woman standing stipulation. Maybe they're intending to use that for another match. Fucking hope not. It's not those two. That really should be it. I know you can argue, oh, Liv needs a rematch. They should do a rematch with a stipulation. No, they should not. Move on. Like that was part of what I enjoyed about Raw last night was the finality of the show. It felt like finality for Liv and Rhea, and not only Liv and Rhea, but Rhea and Dom as well. She hit Dom with the Riptide after the match, a spot that probably should have come 3 months ago, but I mean, better late than never. It felt like finality for Rock and Solo. We'll get to The Rock in a second. It felt like finality for Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. It felt like, I don't know about finality for Drew and Drew and Jay. That kind of felt like just a match where Drew's probably going to get his win back or destroy this dude coming up soon. Whatever. It felt like the beginning of an era as far as them wanting to bring in new fans. And we've complained for years with WWE, especially AEW. What are they doing to cater to the new fan base? And WWE, I know for a fact, has brought in some new fans because, I mean, their business is booming for one. But I've literally have seen it. I have heard from people that have either not watched wrestling in a long time or have never watched wrestling, are now into it because of the current product that probably would not have been into it 5 years ago when the product was fucking garbage. There's still a lot of stuff to improve, and they still have a long way to go. But the bigger question, like John had asked, I think last week, can they keep the momentum going? Can they keep the show feeling like a big deal? Gabriel Iglesias, thankfully, and I like the guy, nothing against him, will not be there every week. They will not have celebrities in the crowd every week. They will probably not have celebrities in the crowd next week in San Jose. It will probably be business as usual starting next week on Raw, which I think it should be. All eyes should be on the Royal Rumble. All eyes should be on WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber, making those shows feel important. Saturday night's main event, don't forget about that. We got that coming up at the end of the month. They got a lot of shit coming up. They got to make that feel equally special. There was a lot of hype for this show. For me, did it live up to the hype? Was I disappointed afterward? No, it was slightly underwhelming in the sense that they didn't do a whole lot to create a cliffhanger or to leave you looking forward to something going forward. There was a little crumbling of planted seeds with like Rock and Roman when Roman won and then Rock came back out after that fucking pandering promo that started the show. He came back out and he, acknowledged Roman essentially by giving him the Ula Fala. That was nice, but he didn't lay him out. They didn't have Rock, call out Cody Rhodes. He called out Cody Rhodes by praising him and then fucking drinking with him in the back. The same man that he made him shed blood less than a year ago on the road to WrestleMania. Like, what the fuck was that? That was one thing about the show that pissed me off. I'm like, the Rock promo, seeing Rock, great. Glad we got Rock back. Stupid me thinking that Rock being on the show would give us an indication as to what he was doing at WrestleMania. Not only do we not fucking know what he's doing at WrestleMania, we don't even know if he's going to fucking be there at all. He was really just there to shill the Netflix executives, shill the company. The fucking like that was like the weakest parts of the show was the Rock promo and the Hogan promo. And then the shit, like the fucking bullshit backstage. Like, I love Gabriel Iglesias, really nice guy. I've interviewed him. He seems like a cool dude. They showed him in the crowd, great. They showed fucking Topanga and Eric from Boy Meets World in the crowd. That was awesome. All right, but then we have to hear from Gabriel Iglesias again backstage talking about his Netflix special coming up. If that's what this Raw and Netflix shit is going to be, a lot of hype for other shit on Netflix. Like, say what you will about you. Like, there's all pros and cons. WWE being on USA, I would have to watch commercials for some of this shit as far as the fucking garbage goes with, like, oh yeah, not Suits. Suits was a good show. Monk and Psych were good shows. But there were other shows on the USA Network they would plug on USA during Raw that would be garbage. But I don't know if it was as aggressive as this. I think I heard, if you take a shot last night, if you took a shot every time someone thanked Netflix or just said thank you or like did a show for the executives, you'd probably be dead. That was the part of the show that felt very corporate to me. That bothered me. I think they could just do a better job of that going forward and not making it feel so like, I saw the word distilled going around a lot as far as, oh, it felt very distilled and corporate and whatnot. That's what it felt like to me. And I feel like they could do a better job of that going forward. That Rock promo where he's like, oh, thank you, Ari Emanuel. Thank the Netflix executives. They show those fucking people 2 or 3 times. That's not, yeah, exactly, Richie. Those goddamn Crisley Knows Best commercials. Fuck that shit. I mean, SmackDown's still on USA, but thankfully, they got rid of that garbage. He got arrested or some shit for not paying his taxes or whatever the fuck it was. So, thankfully, we won't be subject to that trash anymore. But yeah, going back to the chat here for a second. John had asked, we'll probably go back to this question in a second. He said, in regards to the movie podcast, oh, no, this wasn't a question. I mean, it is a question. He said, it was a lot of fun to do that, but he said, what's one big movie that you think will be great in 2025? I'll go back to that in a moment. Richie also said, very good point about the lack of video packages, hyped to get new viewers to tune in next week. Commentary did a good job getting people familiar, as you mentioned, but they needed to do a bit more. And he said, but man, The Rock, very bizarre. Kayfabe is dead, brother. Yeah, I mean, kayfabe is dead. But here's the fucking problem. This is my problem with it. The kayfabe stuff being dead doesn't bother me. What bothers me, because like when they said face and heel and shoot and whatever the fuck, I stayed off of social media yesterday to specifically avoid the video package that Triple H tweeted out about the first Raw Netflix, because I wanted to get my genuine reaction when I watched it live. Very like one of the best video packages they've ever done. But my point is, like, him saying that shit during the show or during the video package, oh, work, shoot, heel, like, I mean, depending on the context, it's stupid, but like, that was fine. Like, that was whatever. What bothered me about The Rock last night was that this is the guy, yeah, we saw him at Bad Blood. You could forget that even happened. That was a complete fucking waste. He was just in town. They wanted to pop people, get social media numbers up, whatever, so they had him pop up for 2 seconds. They never even acknowledged it after the fact. Acknowledge. Just stupid. It was just fucking dumb. The last time we saw Rock before that was on the Raw after WrestleMania. What did he do? Him and Cody didn't go off on each other as they did before Mania. He didn't beat the shit out of Cody as he did before Mania. But at the very least, he did challenge Cody for that championship. And correct me if I'm wrong, he said, whether you're holding that belt or not, or regardless of whether you're champion or not, when I come back, I want to crack at you. Specifically, he wanted the crack of the championship. I mean, he pinned Cody in the tag team match in night 1 of WrestleMania, so why the fuck would he not want the championship? He made up his own championship, the People's Championship, because they didn't give him the WWE title. Thank fucking God. There's still a chance that can happen. But then he comes back last night, and they're all like, happy-go-lucky. Oh, yeah, Rock and Cody were best friends, all chummy. Like, what? That makes no sense. And if the idea is, and if anyone is thinking, oh, well, clearly he's trying to lull Cody into his false sense of security. He's trying to, pull the wool over his eyes or whatever the hell you want to say. He's trying to manipulate Cody into thinking they're friends, and that's when he's going to drop the boom and turn on him. Why? What? That doesn't even make any sense. That makes a storyline that was already losing steam because we haven't seen Rock really at all in the last year. That makes it more convoluted than it needs to be. Rock coming back and just beating the shit out of Cody is just the simplest way to rekindle that rivalry. Why do we have to go down this road of... I'm saying this as to those people that are thinking that they did that on purpose. Like, oh, you can always get back to it. Yeah, no shit, you can always get back to it. Like, obviously, they can always fucking get back to Rock and Cody at some point. But my problem is that the shit they did not have to do what they did last night. Rock on his IG, drinking with Cody. Oh, Wheatley vodka, blah blah blah. Like it was just fucking, or his tequila. I'm sorry, wrong product placement. It was the Rock's fucking tequila. It's just dumb. It was dumb. Like Rock being there was cool. I'm not like an anti-Dwayne guy, but this bullshit, and we'll talk about it probably on WrestleRant Radio in a couple days here on the channel with Mr. Marceau. But WWE's got a Rock problem right now. He doesn't want to commit to shit, and they don't know if he's going to be there, so they can't commit to him facing Cody because they don't know if they're going to fucking do it. It's just fucking stupid. So they got to figure this shit out as far as, are they doing the match? Are they not doing the match? Is he working the show? Is he not working the show? Because it messes everything up. Because if Rock does work the show, we got to figure this other card out. I'm sure they have, like, as has been reported, one potential card with Rock wrestling and one potential card without Rock wrestling. Cool. But this is the time of year where we set these matches up. So if Rock says that this is what we ran into, this is the worst part about it. We had this issue last year, and we were all under the impression that he probably was not working the show. Cody, I don't care what anyone says. I think Triple H at that point in time was under the impression that Rock was not coming back. So he had Cody win the Rumble. And then Rock at some point, either before that or after that, and I guess they said, oh, willingly, they had Cody win the Rumble even knowing Rock was coming back. That made no fucking sense. I just don't think that was what they were actually going to do. I just refuse to believe that. And then Rock's like, you know what, actually, brother, I am going to work that show. I am going to work that show, and me and Roman are going to face off, and they're going to like it. Well, sure enough, they did not like it. And then they had to change plans. Do you think they would change plans again? Probably not. Mike Corona, thank you for the comment. I will get back to that in a second. Richie had mentioned, agreed, why come back as the final boss if you're going to do the usual pandering? Yeah, that was my question. He acted like he was the final boss, but he was in corporate Rock mode last night. Corporate Rock, we got Rock Corporation, whatever the fuck that was in '98. We got Corporate Rock last night as well, the return of Corporate Rock. All of that felt like stuff we weren't meant to see, if that makes sense. He also said this was a strange way of Rock saying bye for now. Last night to me indicated that he won't be committing to Mania. Exactly. But why crap all over storylines that set up previously, like you mentioned, just strange. I just don't get it. Don't even interact with Cody. Just say, listen, brother, I know you still got that championship, and I'm coming for it at some point. Why out there being like, oh yeah, he's carried this company. He's done a great job. He was in Dwayne Johnson, I have to rehab my image mode last night. That's what that was last night. It just doesn't make sense. I just feel like the Rock, and not everyone, like it's not all Rock's fault, but like the Rock element of this thing just fucks everything up. It's just ridiculous, dude. But Mike Corona had said I was there live front row. Wow, that's crazy. Were you on the hard cam side or were you on the other side, like where we could see you on TV? But he said, I felt ripped off. Yes, I had a good time. I shook Rock's hand. That's pretty cool. And he said, and the Punk match was good, but this wasn't the PLE show it was hyped up to be. You know, to be quite honest with you, I agree and I disagree. I don't think it was a PLE show in the sense where, you know, nothing... It wasn't major. I mean, we had a new Women's World Champion crown. That was significant. We had a lot of big names on the show. John Cena was there. Rock was there. Hogan was there. You know, it was a star-studded show, all right? It felt like a PLE in that sense, but it did feel like a PLE to me in this sense, in that a lot of big stuff happened, but it didn't do a whole lot to leave you looking forward to what's next. The only time I feel like they've done that recently was at SummerSlam. Survivor Series, they did not. Survivor Series, I liked. They did nothing to leave you looking forward to what was next. Saturday night's main event, that was a fun show. I was there for that one. Didn't really do a whole lot to shake up the usual formula of shit that they do. It was just the same old shit, all right? And last night was the same thing. They hyped it up heavily. They delivered on everything they advertised. I don't know if they said Logan Paul would be there in attendance last night. I don't give a fuck that he wasn't. I mean, who cares? Excuse me. I don't know if they had said that he wouldn't be there. I'm not exactly sure. They aired a video package for him. That was more than enough. That's totally fine. But, you know, it kind of felt like a PLE in the sense where they gave you the matches. I liked the main event. We got a title change. And that was it. You were expecting more than that. I was expecting more than that. They did not give us more than that. That's kind of part of the problem of what I'm saying. I was hoping for more as far as I wanted them to set up more significant storylines for next week, for the Royal Rumble, for WrestleMania. They did not do that. So, in everything, if you predicted this show, probably everything you thought would happen fucking happened. And that's fine. Predictability isn't always a bad thing. But it would be nice if they throw you a swerve once in a while, do something out of the ordinary. That makes sense, mind you, and not just to shock people for the sake of shocking people. John had mentioned also in the chat, let's be honest, Black Adam bombing completely broke Dwayne and he is in desperation mode to rekindle any goodwill with the fans. I don't know if I would go quite that far, but the Black Adam bombing experience, I do think, I don't know if it broke him necessarily, but it definitely did take a hit on Rock's ego. It absolutely took a hit on Rock's ego, and everything that he's been fucking doing for the last couple of years. Like, the Young Rock show got canceled, and I didn't mind the show. A lot of people didn't like it. It wasn't historically accurate. That's totally fine, but it wasn't for me and you. It was for, like, the regular casual viewers. That's, like, the people that Rock appeals to, because a lot of casual people know who The Rock is. They're not diehard fans. Like, that's his audience at this point. That's his demographic, and that's fine. But he's had a lot of failed business ventures. He's had a lot of successful ones. I mean, God knows Red 1 was a failure. I liked the movie for what it was. I enjoyed it. Was it a Christmas classic? Absolutely not. Would I rewatch it anytime soon? Would I watch it ever again? Probably not. Big budget movie, a lot of marketing. Did they make that money back? Probably not. So, I mean, obviously Moana was a big success, but that's not like a Rock movie. Like, he was obviously a big role in the movie, but that's not a Rock's face is all over. That's an animated movie that Rock lends his voice to. It's still a massive success, but I mean, I think that had more to do with Moana 1 being a success, and he was also in that as well. Disney and Pixar just being a massive conglomeration and whatnot, and less to do with, The Rock himself. Like, what was the last true Rock movie that came out? Let's look it up now. Rock movies. I mean, let's see. I thought it would give me movies about rock and roll or some shit. That Rock was in. That was like a true success. Red 1 failed. Fast X, he's in. Spoiler alert, he just makes a quick cameo, but he's not like in it. Black Adam was a failure. DC League of Super Pets, I don't remember that being like a banger. I didn't watch it. Red Notice came out on Netflix. I think that did well, but have people really talked about that since then? I mean, not really. Jungle Cruise I liked. Free Guy, did he make a cameo in that movie? I think he did. Jumanji 2, did that do well? I don't remember. Fighting with My Family I like that movie. Yeah, I mean, we're going back like 5-6 years here, like nothing recently. It's been a while since Rock had like a real true banger on the silver screen. So, yeah, I could see why his ego would be damaged in that respect. Let's see. Let's get back to the chat here. Joe M said the Jumanji made a fuck ton of money. But was it the sequel? Or I know the first one did. Did the sequel make a fuck ton of money too? I don't remember. I saw it. I thought it was good. Don't remember a whole lot about it. That's not fair, Richie. Richie said, let's be honest. The last good movie with The Rock was The Mummy Returns. Come on. That's not fair. That was a good movie, though. I love those mummy movies. John said, Red Notice, a.k.a. Gal Gadot, stop acting like an AI bot challenge. Oh, my God. All right. Anyway, Ahmed had said, hey, Graham, I thought the show under-delivered. He also said, I hated how The Rock insulted our intelligence last night. Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. I thought it was fucking stupid. I just got done ranting about that, but the usage of The Rock was just ridiculous. Like, he was just out there and acting like, hey, like, what the fuck happened to the guy that we saw a year ago? And I saw the people tweeting, oh, listen, it's just corporate rock for tonight. Okay, listen, I get it. It's the first show on Netflix. He wants to go out there. I don't want to use any crude language here, but you could probably fill in the blanks as far as what I want to say. He was out there blowing smoke, let's say, up the asses of the Netflix executives. That's fine. But there's also a way to stay consistent with the shit that we saw a couple of months ago at Bad Blood, which felt like a fucking fever dream, and the shit that we last saw him doing on Raw a year ago. It was not consistent at all. Tonally, nothing. He said nothing of note. It was just a cool cameo, and that was it. It was absolutely nothing meaningful whatsoever. And it would have made up for it if he fucking attacked Roman Reigns, but he didn't. Did the show underdeliver? I don't think it underdelivered. I mean, you said that, Ahmed, and that's totally fine if you feel that way. And again, like I said, did it? I mean, I guess I said earlier, did it live up to the hype? And I said no. I mean, I guess it depends what your expectations were. I mean, even now with WWE, AEW, honestly in general, I have a low fucking bar. I'm easily satisfied, but I can also tell you the truth and tell you that there was shit I was hoping to see on that show as far as them setting shit forward, moving on with certain storylines, and them not doing that. I feel like they could have done a better job of that. To go back to this before I forget, John had asked, what's my number one? We're on the topic of movies. John had asked, what's the one big movie that you think will be great in 2025? I'm a Marvel guy. I know you're not, John, but I think Brave New World's going to be really good in February. I do. That or Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, I'm a little less sure about. I'm looking forward to all three of the movies. That Fantastic Four and Brave New World. I think Brave New World will be really good, though. What the fuck else is coming out this year? I actually wrote down a list of all the movies that I want to see, so let me pull that up real quick. Movies releasing this year. So these were the movies that I either would be interested in seeing or would really want to see or would consider it. I wrote this down a couple days ago just to kind of I'm a fucking weirdo, all right? I make a list like this thinking all right, when am I going to the movies next? Because I probably won't go out. I probably won't go back to the movies until this comes out. But Alexis wanted to see Wolfman. We'll probably see that. I mean, I don't know if I'll see it with her, but National Popcorn Day is next Sunday, so I'll probably go for that. That comes out the 17th. Brave New World is on Valentine's Day. The Accountant 2, I don't know why it's coming out 8 years later, but 9 years later, actually. I love that movie. The Accountant 2, I actually really love the original, so I don't know if it's going to be ass or not, but I'm looking forward to that in April. The Thunderbolts, Lilo and Stitch, I'm looking forward to that more than anything else, so probably that one, actually. I don't know if it's going to be great, but I am looking forward to that. The John Wick Ballerina movie, I'll see it because I saw the other John Wick movies. It should be decent, but it doesn't really feel necessary. The Pixar movie Elio, we'll see. I'll probably see it just because it's Pixar. Megan 2, I don't think you like that movie, John. I actually liked the original. I'm not saying I loved it, but it was better than I thought it would be. That first one looked fucking awful. And they leaned into the goofy aspect of it, and it actually ended up being decent. So, yeah, I like that one. The Jurassic World movie I probably won't see. I wrote that down, but it's they just completely fucked that franchise, so probably not. Superman, I think, will be very good. Honestly, as far as movies that I'm hyped for, looking forward to that I think will deliver, Superman definitely. I Know What You Did Last Summer, that's coming out. I know it's a remake / continuation. It'll probably be terrible, but I'll definitely see it. Fantastic Four, I think, will be good. Freakier Friday, I love the original from 20 years ago with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. I know this is a sequel to that. Might be awful, but I'm probably going to go see it. Nobody 2 with the guy from Better Call Saul. Looking forward to that. That first one was awesome. Get fucking Christopher Lloyd back, please. The Black Phone 2, I didn't really like the first one. Honestly, Alexis liked it a lot more than I did. I did not like that movie, but we'll probably go see it. Predator, Badlands, the Predator shit. I haven't seen all the Predator movies, but I'll probably see it just to see it. Now You See Me 3, just because I saw the first 2, I'll probably see that. Wicked 2, I still have to see the first one. Alexis is on my ass for that. Zootopia 2, probably still need to see the first one. I'm a little late to the party on that one. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a lot of sequels here. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we like the first one. We'll go see the second one. Alexis loves those games. And then finally, Avatar Fire and Ash. I will definitely... I don't know if I'll definitely see that. I mean, listen, I think Avatar is overrated as fuck, but I saw the first 2 finally about a year or so ago. They're not awful, I'll give it that, but I'll probably see it just because I'm a fucking shill and I go see everything that most people are seeing. So unless I'm just not interested whatsoever, so something to keep in mind on that front. Back to the chat here. Let's see. Read in the chat. Richie said, those Mummy films will always hold a special place in my heart. I agree. Those initial movies with Brendan Fraser are really, actually, I mean, are they great films? No, not really, but they're fun. I grew up on those movies, and they're corny enough or whatever. I like those movies. Richie also said, I will never forgive him for ruining the state of DC so bad that Henry Cavill got booted as Superman, Although this new film looks pretty rad based on that recent trailer. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, the Rock fucking ruined DC with that Black Adam movie. That was just atrocious. The movie I thought was decent, but the fact that that whole fucking political shit with him being like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna not have me interact with Shazam and I'm gonna have my own movie." Like, what are we fucking doing here? It's just garbage. But that new recent trailer for Superman looks good though. Richie also said maybe Rock will do Superman with Jack, what Jack Barry did at WWE. I guess we'll see, right? Ahmed said, Graham, the reason I said it was underdelivered was because that didn't forward any stories for WrestleMania outside of John Cena entering the Rumble. No, I agree. I said the same thing earlier. There was no real cliffhanger. Like, say what you want about like Raw 1000, which a lot of people probably don't even remember it. But I remember thinking like it was a fun show. A lot of cameos. I'm a sicko for the cameos. Tony Khan calls the AEW fans sickos. I'm a sicko for like returns and cameos. I eat that shit up. I'm part of the problem, all right? And Raw 1000 had a lot of that. We had a lot of it last night too on Raw. But at Raw 1000, they set up the following show by having CM Punk attack The Rock. During the CM Punk John Cena match, they turned CM Punk heel. That was a great cliffhanger. We did not get that last night. CM Punk was also in the main event of this show, and he had a very good match with Rollins, and he beat him clean. I'm glad we got a decisive finish. The DQ at Raw 1000 was awful, but he turned heel, and that kind of made up for it. Last night, Punk won clean, but that was it. We didn't get a Rollins heel turn. We didn't get like a return. I'm not saying we need like, oh, a fucking return like at the end of every show, but something. It's not like even Punk said, I want Gunther, and Gunther came out. Like, that would even be more interesting. And they didn't even do that. Joe M said, and I have other questions to get to that he wrote down that people sent in, so we'll get back to those in a couple minutes. Joe M said, I can never pronounce his name. Kevin McAllister is what I call him. Macaulay Culkin getting the biggest pop of the night was elite. You goddamn fucking right it was. That was great. Much bigger pop than Hulk Hogan, I'll tell you that much. The way he did it too, the way he like hit his face like that, and he kind of like he knew what he was doing. Get him in the Rumble. If we can get goddamn the guy from Jackass, Johnny Knoxville in the Rumble, get Kevin McAllister in the Royal Rumble. That's fucking and maybe Robin Marv or whatever the fuck their names are from Home Alone. John Ritland said, Death of a Unicorn looks to be an insane ride from A24. I will also be watching Wolfman despite the fact Blumhouse is involved. Hated Megan, but I get why I was successful, he said. Ahmed said, Triple H did say in the WrestleMania kickoff January 6th is the start to the road to WrestleMania, and I just didn't like how he didn't deliver to his word. No, I agree. Cena said he'd be in the Rumble. Cool. Here's my problem with the Cena thing. The Cena thing was exactly what you would expect to happen. The entire show is exactly what I expected, which isn't to say it was bad. I was just hoping they would do something a little less predictable. I mean, people are going to shit on Logan Paul, but I think Cena and Logan Paul would be a good match. I feel like they should do it at some point. They should have had someone like that interrupt Cena. I think it's lame to me personally that Cena came back, announced himself for the Rumble, had the crowd in the palm of his hand, blah, blah, blah. And then we're not going to, according to his tweet that he put out after the show, we're not going to see him until the fucking Rumble in a month. The Rumble's on February 1st. He's not going to appear till then. He's not going to wrestle till then. That's lame. That's lame to me. That's another 4 weeks away. Why not have him wrestle his first singles match as part of this tour? Why not have to be the first match on the tour as opposed to the Rumble? Someone could have interrupted him easily last night on the biggest show ever, not even of the year, one of the biggest Raws ever. Like, no, I'm not talking Austin Theory, but like someone newer, whatever, interact with Cena, lay him out, challenge him to a match, and then set that up for next week or Saturday night's main event. That's what I don't get. I just feel like they could have done a better job of that personally. Let's see. John said, I don't know how they'll do Black Phone given how it ended, and I agree. Wicked Part 1 will probably be on Peacock by February in time for the Oscars. Let's see. John also said, Avatar, a.k.a. James Cameron's Dances with Smurfy Wolves. Yeah, pretty much. Richie saying, more like Avatar, fire and ass. No, listen. Those movies aren't as bad as I thought they would be, but like I still watch them and I'm like, why are these the highest grossing movies of all time? In '09, when we had nothing else going on but the recession, I kind of get it. But like in 2022 or 2023, I think 2022 was when that one came out, the last one, right? Wasn't it 2022? Why the fuck are we spending our money on seeing this movie? I just don't get it. Like I probably will for the third one because I'm a show like that. I'll just probably watch it on Disney Plus. But I just don't get that personally. I don't understand that. Anyway, John said as far as Superman goes, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. That guy has had quite the last couple of years. Renfield, The Order, Nosferatu, and so on. Guy is on the rise. Yeah, he was also in the X-Men movies from 10 years ago, too. That's where, not where I know him from. I just remember every time I see him, I go, oh, that's the guy from, you said The Order. Wasn't it The Menu? Is that what you're talking about, John? I think it was The Menu. Richie said some of the movies you listed, sequels in particular, I have also not seen, but definitely watch. Yeah, I've seen the original Predator, obviously. I actually just recently rewatched it about a year ago. Great fucking movie. I will watch the new one, but I've definitely seen the original. I also watched Prey too. Watched that for the first time, and I thought that was great. It was on Hulu. Well, it's still on Hulu, but it's probably on Disney Plus now too if you have the package for both. Eric said hi. Hi, Eric. Thank you for joining us in the chat. I appreciate it. Richie said Raw 1000 felt bigger than last night's Raw in terms of the ending for sure. I wish CM Punk's promo at least aired to close the show instead of on the post show. I agree. I did not watch the post show. That's the problem. Like, I think they assumed a lot of people would be watching that post show, and a lot of people did. I saw it got 1 million views. That's great. But they did the press conference. Why not have CM Punk's post match comment? Why did they go off the air so quickly? Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. But I'm saying that they could have easily had him win and then also cut those comments for an extra 30 seconds. I don't want the show to be 3.5 hours, as was rumored, but this shit about, like, we got to go off the air at 11:02, you don't. You could have aired those comments. There was nothing coming up afterward on the Netflix live stream, so they could have afforded to air those comments, and then it would have been like, he could have been Cody Rhodes, I'm coming for you. No, I'm not pulling a Booker T here, but he could have said, I'm coming for you, brother, whatever. Could have said whatever, and then that would be like, oh, okay, like we saw Cody. Like, if I'm a casual fan, I'm thinking, all right, I saw Cody earlier on. He has belt. Punk wants belt. I want that match. That would make sense to me, right? So, I agree. John also said he was in the menu, talking about Nicholas Hoult. The Order was about the rise of a KKK offshoot in the PNW in the early 80s. I did not know that. I don't know if I've heard of that movie. That is interesting. I did not. The Menu and The Order sound like the Order sounds like a fucking prequel to The Menu. What are you ordering tonight, sir? Oh yeah, it's on the menu. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, I have not heard of that. I have not heard of that movie, but it sounds good. Ahmed said, I thought the show would be 3.5 hours just for that night. I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it wasn't. I know that was the rumor from WrestleVotes. I'm sure fucking happy that it wasn't that it wasn't 3.5 hours long. That would have been awful. I have no interest in a 3.5 hour Raw. I have no interest in a 3 hour Raw. But I would have been willing to deal with it. But they went off the show at 11:02. I said, thank fucking God. I also did a podcast last night. I don't really do post-show podcasts, but I did last night. Cheap plug, Randy Cruz. Check him out. Great dude. Great podcast. They jumped on his show. He asked me to. I said, I never do post-show Raws at this point. I'm just, I say I'm too old for that shit. It's not like I'm fucking 50. I'm not even 30. And I'm like, that's too late for me. I'm up late anyway doing shit. I don't need to be up late talking about shit I just watched for 3 hours. But I said, I'll do your podcast. I'll jump in and talk about it. It's a big show. So if Raw went till 11:30, I would have been up even later. So I'm glad it wasn't. To answer some more of these questions as we maybe wind down here, it depends who else chimes in the chat. At Iwagu91, he said from Twitter, it's Tuesday, you know what that means. Had Brody Lee held the AEW World Championship if he was still alive, would he have had it at least once? Good question. Probably not, I don't think. Tony Khan mapped out everyone that he wanted to win the AEW World Championship up until Adam Page. But then by that point, CM Punk came in, Danielson came in, Adam Cole came in. All of those people would be AEW. Adam Cole probably would have won the championship from MJF had Adam Cole not gotten hurt. So I'm not even convinced Joe would have been champion. And that was just like a change of plans in the last minute type thing. So with Brody Lee, him being the world champion, probably not. He probably would have stayed at the TNT title level. Probably would have stayed in the upper mid card. I don't know if honestly, there's a chance I could see him going back to WWE. If Bray Wyatt wanted to reunite the Wyatt family, he probably would have been in AEW for a couple more years, but I could have seen him going back with Triple H in charge. If he was still around, I could see Luke Harper going back to WWE to do whatever the Wyatt Six was or the Wyatt family or whatever. Would he have been AEW World Champion? Probably not. I think there were a whole bunch of people that still should be champion before Brody if Brody was around. He would have been It would have been cool to see him as the world champion. Like, he would have gotten opportunities. Like, he faced Moxley at Double or Nothing. People forget about that. He faced Moxley for the World Championship at Double or Nothing 2020 in front of limited or no fans, or I guess the roster or whatever it was. And he did not win, obviously. But, it would have been cool to see him at that level, but I feel like by 2020 onward, the time to make him, even in WWE, I don't think he would have been a world champion. But it's something, it's something to think about for sure. Richie said, remember when Raw used to end at 11:05? Enough with this off-the-air early nonsense. Now, listen. I like the show ending at 11. I do. I just think you could have afforded to have CM Punk's comments air for 30 seconds after the fucking show. Like, he beat Rollins, and within 30 seconds, they were off the air. I'm thinking, what are they rushing for? I didn't even watch the post-show shit. I didn't even know they were doing a fucking press conference. I wouldn't have watched it anyway, even if I did know they were doing it. But I said, I'm not watching that. I'm going to bed. I didn't go to bed. I was doing other shit. I was trying to, prepare for the... The best part is, I was trying to prepare for this stream, coming up with a cool-ass background for what you're looking at right now. And currently, literally right before we went live, it worked. And then I aired what I thought was a cool intro. And then I turned off the intro. And now it doesn't fucking work. And that pisses me off. So, it's almost like I stayed up for nothing. But hopefully next week when we do this again, and hopefully when we're live again on Thursday. See, now I know how to create a cliffhanger. We're not just going to be live next Tuesday here answering your questions for hashtag. I'm hoping to also be live on Thursday for WrestleRant Radio for more rants about Raw with Mr. Marceau. It's not just going to be me. So hopefully by that point, we had a background last week for that show, and that was cool. I don't know why the fuck. I guess because I aired an intro or something like that. I'm working with OBS here and trying to see if I can get this shit to work. Let's see if we can get it to work right now. Oh, hold on. There we go. Why the fuck did I try that earlier? God damn, now we got a background. Only fucking, how long are we into this thing? 50 minutes? God damn. Only just now did I figure it out. I spent a long time last night trying to figure this shit out and trying to get a nice background for this special, for this show. And for the first 54 fucking minutes, because I'm an idiot, didn't work. But now it works, which is cool. What was I even talking about? Oh, we were talking about Raw going off the air early. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it going off the air early. I just think if they needed a cliffhanger, and that would have been it. It's not like a massive cliffhanger, but him addressing Cody Rhodes or Gunther or the World Heavyweight Champion, which he did post-show, he did do that. It would have been cooler had he done it on the actual show. I just feel like that would have been a little more of a small touch that would have made sense. John said, I don't mean to be so movie-centric, but the new Wallace and Gromit on Netflix movie was good. And last night I watched the Robbie Williams biopic, Better Man. Not sure how it worked since he was a CGI... What the fuck? Who is Robbie... I'm thinking of Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town. Who the fuck is Robbie Williams? Not Robin Williams, right? I'm going to Google this. Robbie Williams. I genuinely, Googling that now, oh, the monkey thing. Okay. I don't know who the fuck Robbie Williams is, but I saw the monkey movie in the advertising. I think I saw that while I was watching Raw. Yeah. I don't think I watched the movie, but I did hear about it. I saw the commercials for it anyway, so that is interesting. Let's see, back to the live stream here. He was a British pop star, all right. The Wallace and Gromit movie, maybe I'll check that out, we'll see. Rich is saying Joe not being penciled in to hold the World Championship is sinful. We can't confirm that, but I think it's pretty safe to say if Adam Cole does not get hurt, Joe probably would have never won the World Championship. But I will say this. I don't want to shit on AEW for it's like, oh yeah, the fact that he was never penciled in to win the World Championship makes Tony Khan a bad person. Yeah, that is silly. But you know what's even worse? WWE had Samoa Joe. And they never once made him a world champion. I'm not talking about NXT. At the end of the day, that's not a world championship. That's a fucking developmental title. I guess you could consider that a world championship. It's not the WWE title, and it's not the World Heavyweight Championship. Samoa Joe could have been the first and I think only person, I don't think anyone has done this. He's won belts in all these companies that I'm about to mention. But he would have been the first person to win a world championship in Ring of Honor, TNA, and WWE. And AEW if he went on to win the AEW World Championship too. But he didn't because they never gave him the WWE title. He got a million fucking shots at it against AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar, but he never fucking won. That to me is just completely stupid. Like you said, yeah, man, have him waste away on commentary in WWE was just wrong. Dumb. And then not only that, they fired him. They bring him back to NXT. Triple H does. That's the key there. That's the key difference. They bring him back, and then they fire him again. That to me is even more criminal. That's just awful. Richie also said, well, now you just have to stay alive for another hour since it works. I guess so, right? Hey, we're going to make this a 3-hour stream. And we're actually not, but yeah, I guess I might have to stay alive for another hour now that we got the background to work and you're not just looking at a black screen behind me. Ahmed said, Graham, I got kind of good news. Triple H said Raw will be flexible, mostly since the show will end 2 hours and 30 minutes. Will it, though? Did he say that today, or did he say that previously? If you're talking about the interview that he did with Sports Illustrated Media Podcast or whatever, he said that it could be as short as 40 minutes, which, God, I would fucking love that. I mean, the show probably wouldn't be that good. It would be like, oh my God, I've got to rush everything in 40 minutes. Probably not good, actually. But then I also, this killed me. He said, oh yeah, Raw could be as short as 40 minutes. And then he goes, it could also be 4 hours. And I said, get the gun ready. If Raw is 4 hours, I might have to kill myself. I shouldn't say that. That's a little harsh. I don't want to get demonetized here. But I was thinking, oh my God, I may not be alive to see 2026. It would rhyme if I said I may not be alive to see 2025, but we're in 2025. I may not be alive to see 2026 if Raw went to 4 hours. So hopefully fucking it's not. But honestly, I can't really imagine a scenario where if Raw went off the air in 3 minutes, or 3 hours rather, in 2 minutes last night, that they would make it any longer for an ordinary episode. I can't imagine that for a stack show like last night, it would be that short, and then an ordinary episode would be longer, unless it called for it. But, it just depends on the circumstance, I suppose. But honestly, like, I know he had said 2 hours and 30 minutes would be, I think what he said was, I could be wrong, is that he said it's the sweet spot. That I agree with. A 2 hour and 30-minute show, and I think he knows that because he did takeovers that were 2 hours and 30 minutes. A lot of those early takeovers were 2 hours and 30 minutes with 5 matches. A lot of the pay-per-views he's done in the past couple of years while the head of WWE Creative have been 2 hours and 30 minutes, a lot of which have been closer to 3 hours. War Games was like 3.5 hours. We do not need 4-hour pay-per-views. I mean, it is kind of weird for like pay-per-views to be 2.5 hours and Raw's 3 hours, but Raw being 2.5, and then it's weird though because SmackDown's still 3 solid. So Raw, the fact that we will live in a universe where Raw might be shorter than SmackDown is weird to me. And you know what I also thought, just to point this out quickly, if you want to direct your hate towards anyone for these longer shows, I wouldn't even blame Vince. There's a lot of things you can blame Vince McMahon for. I wouldn't blame him for this. Here's one thing I thought of the other day. Raw went to 3 hours on the USA Network. Vince probably would have made it 3 hours before that, but USA specifically wanted it to be 3 hours for more advertising money. That was a big USA Network call. That was a USA Network call to make the Raw 3 hours. NXT went from 1 hour to 2 hours. I love the 1 hour format. I mean, to be fair, NXT has a bigger roster now, so it kind of makes sense for it to be a 2 hour show, but that was because of USA. USA made that a 2 hour show. It was never a 2 hour show before that on the network. Became 2 hours on USA Network. SmackDown. SmackDown has been around for over 25 years. SmackDown has been a 2 hour show for over 25 years. They moved to USA, and within months, SmackDown is 3 hours. So my point is, if you want anyone to blame, fuck USA Network. And I have a lot of love for USA Network. I grew up with USA Network. But they are the problem. USA Network is the problem here. USA Network is the problem. They are like quantity over quality. And rarely does that work. The 3 hour SmackDown last week worked. Will it work every week? Probably not. But I mean, I guess we'll find out starting this week, right? Richie said, going back in the chat here, he said, thought they were going to finally do something with him until they fired him. Lame. Samoa Joe, I had said, when he was in WWE years ago, he would have been the perfect fit for the Bloodline storyline. I know he's not related to them. I'm not trying to be like racist or something and say all Samoans have to be involved in the storyline. But like, honestly, I feel like he'd be a natural fit. Like, whether he's joining or against the Bloodline, him and Roman, who have a lot of history, and they've had some good matches. Like, heel Roman and babyface Joe would have been fucking awesome. That would have been cool. We never got to see that. We saw a lot of heel Joe against babyface Roman, but never the other way around because Joe got fired. So, yeah, I agree. It kind of felt like, oh, yeah, they're finally going to move him back up to the main roster. He won the NXT title in 2021, and then they fired him. He actually had to vacate due to injury, which was lame. Joe just got hurt a lot. And then they fired him. That was dumb. Ringside Logic, Atlee Green. Atlee's an awesome dude. Check him out. Check out his content, his website. He does awesome stuff. His question was, if you could only choose one, oh, Atlee, you're killing me here. Lilo and Stitch live action movie or WrestleMania 41? That's a great question. So are you asking me like which one I would keep and which like what I would get away, like what would I get rid of? Or are you asking like what I would go to? Like what would I see? If you're still here, Atlee, let me know what you meant by that question. But if you're asking me what I would like attend, I mean Lilo and Stitch live action isn't something I can attend unless it's the fucking red carpet premiere. Honestly, Lilo and Stitch. I am that. Which one would you get rid of? That's what you said. Which one would I get rid of? I would get rid of WrestleMania 41. We've had 41 WrestleManias. Lilo and Stitch live. I might regret that answer because Lilo and Stitch live action. Listen, I'm excited. I know you're excited. We've talked about this on Twitter, Atlee, but that movie could be fucking a dumpster fire, and I'm still gonna keep it. I'm still gonna keep it. As you can see behind me, I've got Lilo and Stitch shit behind me. I'm a massive Lilo and Stitch fan. Yeah, Richie, yeah, we're keeping Lilo and Stitch. You said John Cena's last Mania over Lilo and Stitch, and I love Lilo and Stitch. Listen, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do, Richie. Love Lilo and Stitch. Alexander, thank you for joining us. You said Triple H is American. I'm aware. Did I say what did I say that would contradict that? And also, yeah, we're not going 3 hours with hashtag in 2025, Richie. You also said Hunter was bugging with those comments. I don't know what he was talking about. If Tongalo and Tama Tonga can be in the reformed bloodline, then Samoa Joe could have been implemented somehow into plans too. No, I agree. My cats are named. Oh, of course, Richie. How did I forget that? Richie's cats are named after Lilo and Stitch. Listen, you might like Lilo and Stitch, Richie. Atlee, you might like Lilo and Stitch. But let me ask you guys a question. You've seen the movie. You've seen the original movie that came out over 20 years ago. But are you a big enough fan to have seen Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch as a Glitch? Are you a big enough fan to have seen Stitch the movie? Are you a big enough fan to have seen Leroy and Stitch? And are you a big enough fan to have seen every fucking episode multiple times of Lilo and Stitch, the animated series? That is what I'm asking you now. If the answer is no, then I might have more of a say in this conversation than you do. I might have to appoint myself the tribal chief of the Lilo and Stitch community. I've played the video games. I've watched every episode. I've been on the ride. Richie says, I guess I'm a fake fan besides the animated series, but have you seen every episode? Listen, Richie, I don't know where it is. I think it's gone. I had a notebook with every experiment from Lilo and Stitch canonical history, and I had them all memorized. Not recently. This was when I was in fifth grade probably. It's been about 20 years, all right? But there was a point in time when I did remember and did memorize every Lilo and Stitch experiment because it is sad to me when people go, what is 626? They know Stitch. They don't know that he's experiment 626. Where the fuck do you think the other 625 experiments came from? Richie said, my tribal Stitch. Richie said, damn, you're a Lilo and Stitch, Mark. You're goddamn right I'm a Lilo and Stitch, Mark. Holy moly. Yeah, it's true. I know my Lilo and Stitch shit. You know about Marvel. You know about Star Wars. You know I'm a WWE guy. But did you know that I could fucking name every... And maybe not now. I did at one point. There were people that did not know that Stitch was experiment 626. Look at this. Wait, I'll show you right here. On the stream. I don't know if you can see this. Let me try to pull up my camera here. Look at this. I mean, this barely shows that I'm a fan. But I got Stitch shit everywhere, dude. I mean, you can see the shit behind me. You can't really see it in view. It's around here somewhere. But I got gifted for Christmas a couple of years ago. I'm a fucking adult now, but I don't give a shit. I got gifted a couple years ago. Not the sign, that would be impossible, but a replica sign of Stitch's Great Escape the Ride from Disney World. I have it over there. I don't want to take it off the wall, but it's pretty fucking cool. And yeah, I'm a massive Stitch fan. So that's where that came from. Ringside Logic, Atlee said, yes, I've seen the Japanese sequel series where Lilo is all grown up and Stitch had to find a new friend. Okay, listen, Atlee, I know what you're talking about. Oh, and Ahmed said, Triple H said, SmackDown is going back to 2 hours. Where did he say that? Did he say that? Like, how long is this going to last? I don't want it to be 3 hours forever, but I am worried about it being 3 hours for a while. As far as the animated sequel to Lilo and Stitch, listen, I have not seen it. So Atlee, he's probably a bigger fan than I am. I think he might be the tribal chief of the Lilo and Stitch fandom more than I am. But I refuse to watch that show. One, I can't easily access it anywhere. And two, it's not canon. It's not canon. I don't consider that. I watch some of the shit. It's not even any of the same voice actors. I know they bring back one of the experiments. Like 627 makes a comeback. I'm still pissed. Leroy is experiment 629. There's an experiment 628 out there that they teased after 627. Other people that are watching this, people are tuning in now on the live stream for the title, talking about Raw on Netflix, and they hear me talking about fucking Lilo and Stitch. They're like, what the fuck am I getting myself into? Well, listen, if you subscribe today, you get plenty more wrestling talk. You get plenty more Lilo and Stitch talk. You get plenty more live streams and just bullshit like this talking about Red 1-5 and Lilo and Stitch, the live action movie. I can go off on all. We could do a Lilo and Stitch stream. I did a Lilo and Stitch watch along a couple years ago here on the channel. Go back and check it out. It's in the archives. Richie said, I'm 31 years old and I still buy toys and games. Hey, fuck, yeah, so do I. I agree. I don't give a shit either. It brings us joy and doesn't harm anyone, so screw it. That's the fucking mentality, Richie. I agree. Ahmed said, yep, on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. All right, I believe it. Better be fucking 2 hours. I tried to stay off social media yesterday because I didn't want to be spoiled for Raw, but I guess the only thing I avoided spoiler-wise was the fact that Taker would be on the show. Oh, what a big surprise. Yeah, so if SmackDown goes back to 2 hours, that's great. I think that would be wonderful. So hopefully it does. Hopefully this is very short-lived, even if they do make it work. Richie said, and I also, by the way, I feel like if it does work for 3 hours, then they will go back. They will not go back to 2 hours. So I'm not saying Triple H is lying, but like, why else would they go to 3 hours? That just makes no sense. I feel like they're doing it to test the waters. Maybe Triple H is secretly hoping it fails and they go back to 2 hours. I don't know. Richie said, Trips did mention the 2 hour SmackDown yesterday, I believe. Ahmed is right. Okay, cool. And Ringside said, also, I believe the reason why Alilo went away for so long is total BS. I have heat with that creative decision. Are you talking about the animated sequel series? Because what is the reason as to why she left? Because she's not in the show, right? Isn't it like a different girl? It's just fucking stupid. I don't, that is not my Lilo and Stitch. I do not acknowledge the animated Japanese sequel series. I just think that's dumb. Just revive the original show. There are 629 experiments if you include Leroy. I know Leroy and Stitch was great finality. That came out around my last day of school. That was like one of the greatest days of my life up to that point. You could have done 600 episodes about every single experiment. Would it have gotten old? Yeah, fuck yeah, I would have. But it would have been, yeah, I like that show. I recently rewatched every episode a few years ago, and it still stands the test of time to this day. John Rutland said Disney's attempts at live action movies are a mixed bag. Lilo and Stitch could work, but stuff like The Lion King and Little Mermaid just don't work. You know, the problem is this, though. I don't know about The Little Mermaid. I liked Little Mermaid. I thought it was, was it necessary? No, but it was good, but it didn't need to happen. The Lion King, the problem with that movie is this. It has an audience. People went to go see that movie. It is among the highest grossing movies of all time. So, like, I saw that movie. I guess I'm part of the problem, like I said before. I fucking bitch about this shit, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to go see it. But whatever. But it made I didn't see it 7 times. Made a lot of money. So, if these movies, if they fail spectacularly, Lilo and Stitch, I will go see that 10 times because I want that to succeed. I don't give a shit about the live action shit. I care more about the Lilo and Stitch franchise succeeding so they make more Lilo and Stitch shit. Get Lilo and Stitch back at Disney World. They got rid of his ride. People hated the ride. Well, hot take for you, the ride was fun. And you people just suck. Okay? That's my hot take for the day. If you don't want the live action shit to succeed beyond the Lilo and Stitch one, go see that one. Then I'm not saying me don't go see it or you don't go see it, but like, I guess it's not really up to us. But like the general masses should be like, yeah, this movie's awful. But, like, did enough people think The Lion King was good, though? Like, I thought The Lion King was fine. I thought it was good. But did it justify being made? No, it did not. That's my whole thing. Let's see. John also said Disney's. I already mentioned that. Richie said this is incredible. Keen for wrestling. And we're debating canon. Hey, this is the shit that you're gonna get on these live streams, my man. Yeah, we're debating canon, Lilo and Stitch. That's what you come for the wrestling. You stay for the canon, Lilo and Stitch. That's what the shit's all about. John said, I think it looks bad and I'll still go see it. Yeah, exactly. He said, as if I have any room to talk with the numerous bad choices I've made for movies to watch over the last couple of years. I agree. Listen, I see bad shit all the time. John, you've seen my letterbox. I see bad shit on purpose just because I know it's bad. I saw Madam Web. I saw Craven the Hunter. Am I the reason those movies failed or succeeded? No. But I'll still go see them. So, whatever. They were awful. They were terrible. Madam Web sucked. Craven was not much better, but it was decent, but it was not good. Richie said, I'm so glad I tuned in. Great way to pass time at work. And chat, thanks, Graham. Thank you. Thank you, Richie. Ahmed as well. Ahmed said, more live, Graham. I appreciate you as well, Ahmed. Thank you, Richie. Thank you guys for tuning in, sending comments. This is fun. I can't obviously talk with myself aside from just answering questions, so we'll definitely do this again. This is not a one and done. I'm hoping to do more lives in the coming, not days, but like what I'm hoping to do, and I'll mention this again as we wind down in a couple minutes. I do have to go at some point soon. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays is my current plan. Tuesdays for hashtag answering questions, maybe Lilo and Stitch talk. Thursdays, WrestleRant Radio with Mr. Marceau, and then Saturdays talking SmackDown. Probably all midday. So if you got some time to kill during your lunch break or whatever, come chat with us about whatever the fuck, and I'll answer it here on the show. Specifically, if you tweet me, or not tweet me, I haven't looked at Twitter at all, but if you send in a question in the chat, more than likely than not, 99% chance I'll read it. Richie also said, speaking of rides, different park, but can we please get rid of the Jimmy Fallon ride at Universal? I haven't rode that ride. I haven't been to Universal since like 2001, 2002. I haven't been there in a very long time. I'm sure it's terrible, though. That's just corporate bullshit. That's what I felt like watching Raw last night. Oh, go Raw, got my real American beer, and like all this other shit. A lot of corporate fucking nonsense. Garbage. I thought Raw was good, but the corporate shit is garbage. Jimmy Fallon, why the fuck does Jimmy Fallon need his own ride? I'm not saying I have anything against Jimmy Fallon, but does he need his own ride? Absolutely fucking not. That shit's garbage. Absolutely not. Stupid. Stupid. I want to go to Universal soon. I just rewatched all the Harry Potter movies, so I'm kind of in like a Harry Potter mood. So I want to go on the Harry Potter rides and experience that whole thing. I've never been the biggest Harry Potter mark, but I like the movies when they first came out, and I think the rides look awesome. So when I'm in Florida again, I'm more of a Disney guy, but I do want to go to Universal and check out that stuff. Emmanuel, you're tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. He said, yo, Emmanuel. Hope you're doing well. We are about to end in a minute, though, so you came in at the last moment, but we are going to go away in a second. Richie said, group trip, me and wifey and you and Alexis Bucket. Hey, Richie, you know I'm down. You know I'm fucking down. I'm absolutely down. You know what's sad? I went to Disney LOL, he said. Emmanuel said. You know what's sad? I went to Disneyland in 2022 for the first time. It was a trip that I was supposed to take with my brother back in 2020, but it got canceled. Literally, we were supposed to leave the Friday that COVID shut down the United States. I say the world, but the world had it hit to them earlier than we did. It was like that week where everything got shut down. We were supposed to leave that Friday. I was on the phone with travel agents trying to get the trip, refunded for one, not just canceled, but reschedule it. Stupid me thinking that COVID would be over by July. I had it rescheduled to July. We didn't go then either. So they were just like, hey, fuck it. Just come back in a couple years whenever you feel you want to do it. And I said, okay, cool. So we did it. We ended up going in late 2022 for Disneyland. Great time. And then the very next, literally the timing worked out where WrestleMania was in LA in 2023. So when we went to WrestleMania in LA, Alexis and I, earlier that week, which was just psychotic, we went to Disneyland first before then driving to Los Angeles from Anaheim for all the media shit and Mania. One of the craziest weeks of my life. And it was fun. Crazy, though. Ran on fumes all week. And then again, we went to Disney World about a year ago this month, early 2024. We were going to go anyway because Alexis had just wrapped up She just finished her college courses and stuff, and she was graduating. We went as like a graduation trip, and the timing worked out where it was also the week of the Rumble in Tampa. So we did that, and we did. I was going to the Rumble anyway to go do work stuff, but it worked out where we went to Disney World before that, and then the Rumble right after, which was also a lot of fun. Busy but fun. One of the best trips we've ever taken. My point is, I went to Disneyland again, and Disney World in the span of like fucking 15 months. That's a lot of Disney World for one person. Just egregious. It was a stupid amount of Disney. The worst part about that, I want to go again. I want to go again soon. I love Disney World. I love Disneyland. I love that shit. Back to the comments here for a second. Ringside Logic said that, spoiler, Lilo went away for college but agreed to meet Stitch on the island the day after graduation. However, she couldn't make it because Nani was having a baby. Stitch felt abandoned for 10 years? Who fucking booked that shit? That is awful. Yeah, I'm definitely not watching that show. That's awful. My Lilo and Stitch would never do that. My Lilo, my Stitch would never pull that shit. That is garbage. That sounds awful. Richie said we can crap on Jimmy Fallon and discuss Lilo and Stitch more. Hey, I agree. Richie also said, man, that's rough. I went to Disney and Universal for the first time in January 2020, few months before the U.S. shut down for my honeymoon. Oh, right, because you got married 5 years ago. Right, Richie? We just talked about this when I saw you. I forgot about that. That's crazy. I'd definitely be down to go again. Glad you went, though. Yeah, Disney, listen, I said this the other day to someone. Disney, I think, is more fun now as an adult than it was as a kid. And I loved it as a kid. Expensive as fuck. But it's great. I enjoy Disney a lot. That's just... You'll get people that go out partying and do more fun shit than I do. People want to see the world. Oh, I want to travel to this country, that country. I don't want to fucking, like... I've left the country before. I've done it. I've been there. I've done that. I've been to Australia. I've been to Europe. I like all those places. Nothing against them. If a wrestling show is there, All In, I would still love to go to at some point. I would love to go to a show in Australia. I really want to go to Disney World, though. maybe my incentive to leave the country again is going to Disney World or Disneyland at some point in another country. Maybe that's what it has to come down to. Ahmed said there were reports that Becky was supposed to come back last night, but they did The Undertaker instead. I saw that. I think that came from bodyslam.net. I could see that being the case. I could see that. Where they're like, hey, listen, we want to get Taker on the show because he's a big name. Did we need Undertaker on the show? No, but he was on the first ever Raw, so I get it. Whatever. He congratulated Rhea Ripley. And they're like, hey, listen, Becky, we'll bring you back next week instead. Rhea could have a championship celebration, and they can bring her back in the Rumble or during that segment where she celebrates her championship win, whatever the fuck you want to do. There's other ways to bring Becky back, so it's fine. Johnson, the amount of movies that got delayed / pushed to streaming from March 2020 to later in 2021 could stretch across half of my state. It's insane how many I watched at home. There were a lot of movies. Yeah, a lot of movies got delayed and pushed back and all this other shit. Crazy. What a weird time. Can you imagine? Can you think about this, guys, for a second? COVID hit 5 years ago this year. This March, we were sitting here 5 years ago talking about the world is over. 5 years ago. Where does the time go? I mean, we're all like just getting, we're all literally getting older, but like I feel fucking old. That's just, the older you get, the more time flies by. I mean, yeah, time flies when you're having fun. That is also true, but I feel like the older you get, your concept of time, just maybe because you have more going on in your life. This is just how I perceive it. I feel like time flies by a lot quicker as you get older. And that's time you don't get back, which is why you got to appreciate it. Ringside Logic said, agreed. Micah does it. He said, what's up, man? He also sent in a super chat, the first super chat. Micah, I appreciate it, my dude. Thank you so much. He said, it's not much, but I wanted to just say, keep up the good work, bro. Why do you think Rock broke kayfabe with Cody and Roman last night? Well, I'll get to that in 1 second. Just before I forget, Richie said, yeah, that's not my canon, not my Lilo and Stitch. Hey, listen, I agree. We have to go to Disney in Japan. Hey, I'd be down. Not saying no. Emmanuel said Lilo and Stitch spinoffs are crazy. They are. They should not exist. Feels like a fever dream at this point. It really does. It definitely does. But to Micah's question, Micah, first of all, thank you for sending in a super chat, my man. I appreciate it. As far as keep up the good work, thank you so much. He said, as far as the Rock breaking kayfabe, I ranted about this earlier, so if you want to rewind the stream, you can. But I appreciate the question. It was fucking dumb, fucking stupid, just stupid. I just the fact that he was like in Final Boss, like he came out to the Final Boss music, he dressed up as Final Boss Rock. And then he's out there panhandling the fucking, not maybe panhandling, but like pandering to the Netflix executives and shit. Stupid. Stupid. It's made no sense. I just don't get it, dude. Don't get it. I mean, why did he do that? Just because he doesn't care. It's whatever Rock wants. It's Rock's headcanon. If Rock thinks it makes sense, they're going to do it. They're not going to tell him no. That's the worst part. He's going to keep doing whatever the fuck he wants. So if he wants to go out there and thank Netflix and all this other shit, he's going to keep fucking going out there and thanking Netflix and, blowing smoke up their asses. I don't really think he gives a shit about setting up whatever he's going to do next. He did that last time where it's like, oh, we're actually going to get Rock and Cody. Cool. Going to get Rock and Cody and Mania. Hey, I'm good with that. We're going to get it at SummerSlam. Doesn't happen at SummerSlam. Maybe the Rumble. Doesn't happen at the Royal Rumble. We're going to get it at WrestleMania 41. And we're not. Dumb. It was just fucking stupid, dude. Ahmed also said I got to go back to the video of your rant because that was dumb. Listen, I ranted about it a lot more earlier. It just did not make sense. I was happy to see The Rock, but this nonsense about it was just fucking exhausting. It was exhausting because it's like, if you're going to set up a match for down the road with Rock and Cody, then at least have him shit on Cody or attack Roman. He did none of that. It was like, what was even the point? I mean, the point was getting a big name on the show for people to watch for. Oh, The Rock is here. Yay, cool. Micah said, so what are we looking at for Mania? Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Punk and Roman? I mean, probably. I'm still not convinced they're doing that. I know that's the report. We'll talk more about it on Thursday, but I'm still not convinced. I'm not. I think they're going to do... I honestly don't really know. I've seen Cody and Punk talked about. I don't think that's going to happen either. I still think we might get Punk and Rollins, if I had to take a guess. I don't know. I honestly, last night gave us no answers, which I guess isn't a bad thing. But I still think I'm going to say Cena's going to win the Rumble. That's my pick. Not saying I really want him to win the Rumble, but I could see it. I don't know. They should have shared tequilas together like Kumbaya. Seriously, dude. Seriously. I got to go in a minute, so I'm going to read through this stuff quickly. Manuel said, not sure how much longer you're going to be going, but my brother and I are going to the Rumble this year. Oh, cool. I am going to the Rumble this year. I will be at the Rumble this year. So, Emmanuel, I know we've met before. We met in Los Angeles in Mania 39, but if you're going, let me know. Would love to meet up at some point, somewhere, somehow. Would love to make it happen. Richie said, you're absolutely correct, though, Graham, about the time flying thing. These days, the days lately just mush together. Goddamn right, Richie. Micah, let's see, I already answered that question. Richie said, Dwayne ain't getting any younger. Hurry up and give it to us before your bump card expires. Commit. Listen, I agree. It's fucking dumb. Dumb. Rock is going to be 65. The best part about this Rock and Roman thing, they've been building to it for over a decade. Over a decade. And when it finally happens, it probably will not be that good. That's the best part about it. The feud might be good. The match itself probably will not be that great. It's like, what are we doing here? Just get this shit over with so we can move the fuck on. It's like the Rock and Brock stuff. Like, that was looming over our heads for how many years? We got to get that match. We got to get that. Let's just get it out of the way, dude, so we can move on. That's how I feel about Rock and Roman at this point. I want to see the match, but it's like, dude, Jesus Christ, this fucking commit, like Reggie said. I thought he was going to attack Roman and take the Ulafala. Yeah, I think we all did. And then he didn't, which is fine. You got to plant the seeds, but it's like, we got so many fucking seeds planted. I got a garden growing under my feet. Get to the match already. Emmanuel said, guessing Rock won't be at WrestleMania 41, so he's not obligated to be heel anymore. I mean, he will be heel again, but it's just so inconsistent. The best part is we don't know if he's going to be there. We don't know if he's going to wrestle. Last night did not give us an answer as far as whether he's going to be there or not. I still think he will be there, but we don't know for a fact that he will be. This is dumb. Like, fucking give it to us already so we can move on. We need to move on from the Rock and Roman shit. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. John Ritland said, I'll try to tune in for these when I'm able to. I've got 3 to 4 movies lined up to watch by the weekend if you're interested. Oh, very nice. All right. Let me know what they are. Let me know what they are. Richie said, I need more Punk and Rollins. No way that feud is over. They can deliver more for sure. I agree. I hope that feud is not over. Said, I'm jealous of y'all. Enjoy the Rumble. Thank you, Richie. I appreciate it. I'll try to sneak in my luggage. We can go together. Micah said, I'm a huge fan of Cena, but him being on a 2,000 plus losing streak and coming back and winning the Rumble right off the bat is crazy. I agree. Fucking build to it. I mean, listen, he can win the Rumble. I don't really want him to. But he can win the Rumble, and then they can have him challenge for a world championship, but he has to lose. Cena winning a world title at Mania is a cool moment, but I don't think you need to do it. I think that'd be silly, to be honest with you. I just feel like you have the rest of the year. Why not save that for down the road? I also really don't want a mid-Cena world title run for like a couple of months. Or a 2-week Cena title run like we got in 2017. If you're going to put the belt on him, have him win the belt and retire as champion or whatever, or he's champion for a couple of months, but I really don't want that coming out of WrestleMania. Ridiculous. Micah says, I think you should go on a winning streak first and then gain momentum. I agree. Lose the Rumble, but win your singles matches first. Richie says, Rock versus Roman will be a finisher fest like Rock versus Cena 2. Yeah, oh God, don't remind me. Rock and Cena 2 was awful. I liked that first match. That second match sucked. That second match was just abysmal. And then last thing here from Emmanuel. One thing I'll say is I wonder if Punk and Cena will be Rumble Final 2. I could see it. I could see Punk. I mean, Punk might face Gunther at the Rumble for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, I mean, I guess we'll see. But I could see Punk. Someone asked me last night what the Final Four would be. My answer was Punk, Cena, Rollins, Roman. Not a whole lot of fresh blood in there, right? But, I see it probably coming down to them. Maybe Drew, maybe Braun Breaker to get some new blood in there. But if it's not them, then the Final Four that I mentioned. It would be weird for Roman to not be in the Rumble. Does he not want his belt back? That wouldn't make any sense. Maybe they'll have Punk eliminate Roman or vice versa, and that's what sets up their match at Mania if WWE is indeed going forward with that. Micah said second match between Rock and Cena was terrible. I agree. What time are you going to be doing these next week? Probably around the same time, around 11, 12, noon, 12, 1 p.m. Eastern. Really, whenever I get the questions gathered and shit, and we answer them, and then we get back to the chat and stuff. So probably around this time. I'll say noon. I was going to say 11, 1. We'll go in the middle and say noon. Richie said, Punk and Cena as the final two would have me feeling like a teenager all over again. I'm all for it. Graham, challenge accepted. I will make myself fit in the luggage. I just got a new bag, too. I just got a new rolling suitcase Alexis got me for Christmas. Or Santa, I guess you could say. You could probably fit in that. Before, I just had a duffel bag. It ruined me. To carry that thing around was awful. But I have an actual luggage, whatever now. So and it's big, too. You could probably fit in it. Can we see the IC belt? Yes, but not today, because I'd have to go get it, and I'm about to end. And I would love to show you guys the fucking signatures. Yeah, the one with the signatures. I can do it on Saturday or next Tuesday here on the show. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. I think I answered all the questions I got. At Uagu91, I'll answer his last 2 questions here. We do have questions I did not answer. I was just too busy with the chat. He asked, I feel bad for Batista because he should have already been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. But now, thanks to the pandemic, numerous factors have made him unable to be inducted, and he likely won't be inducted this year as John Cena will likely be the headliner. Excuse me, I got congested there. What are your thoughts? He'll probably be inducted at some point. I mean, he will be inducted at some point. Probably not this year. It depends on his schedule. Batista will go in at some point. And he also asked your thoughts on Kyle Fletcher's new look since last year. I think Kyle Fletcher's new look looks good. I like the longer hair. And when he first shaved his head, he looked like fucking, and he still does look like Sid from Toy Story. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Sid from Toy Story 1, and then look up Kyle Fletcher's new shaved head look. You cannot tell me they do not look alike. You cannot tell me the similarities between the two are uncanny. And you will never look at Kyle Fletcher the same. Beyond that, I like Kyle Fletcher's new look. And I think he had a, yeah, exactly. Micah sees it. You will never be able to look at him the same way again. Beyond that, his push has been great. So, I know I spent 5 seconds on those questions, but I do indeed have to go. It's been a while now.
We are closing in on an hour and a half. I can't promise that every stream is going to be an hour and a half long, but I forgot to put up this background until like an hour in. So if you go back and watch the video, that's why. Not forgot, but it just didn't work. I tried to like put this thing together, and here we are. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for either watching the video on replay or tuning in live. Everyone in the chat, Micah, Ahmed, Richie, Emmanuel, John, everyone that sent in questions, Micah, especially with the super chat, thank you so much. I appreciate it. W Stream, thank you, Ahmed. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. So we're going to try to do more of these in the future. My nose is like killing me right now. I don't know if it's allergies or what, but if I sound congested, that's why. So I do got to get going here. But if you want to send in a question to the stream, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com /Graham.GSM.Matthews. You can also send in a question on the post or the wall itself that I put up on Monday nights now, because we're going to try to do these on Tuesdays. Got to get people in the rhythm of hashtag on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays. We've been on Wednesdays for so long. It was an institution here on the channel for fucking Wednesdays. But guess what? We're live on Tuesdays, and yeah, it's going to be live. Even better. So I don't like moving from Wednesdays. I'm a creature of habit, but if we can move it to Tuesdays and make it live and interact with you guys, I feel like that's a lot of fun. Also, more shit coming here to the channel. Just yesterday, if you haven't already checked it out, please do so. I ranked every Raw theme song ever on the first ever episode of WrestleRant Ranks. So check that out, and I would appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it. I think that's all the cheap plugs. So if you haven't already, whether you're watching on the replay or watching live, be sure to subscribe. I would appreciate it. And send in questions for next week. So that's about it. Later, brother. Let's chat soon. Sounds good, Richie. I appreciate it. We'll definitely talk soon. Appreciate all you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. We'll be back here on Thursdays. That is my final cheap plug. We'll be back on Thursday, probably around noon, 11:30 noon Eastern time, for WrestleRant Radio with Mr. Marceau to break down more from Raw on Monday, more of an in-depth discussion of the show, and as far as what's next for WrestleMania 41. Till next time, guys, have an awesome rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch you